Hi, it's Patrick here. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at HTML elements and attributes. So in our previous video, we were able to create our first web page. And today, in this video today, we will be focusing on building on that and seeing what are other things that we can add, or what can we learn more to be able to make our web page look even better. So we want to go straight to look at some of the common tags that we will be using in enhancing the look of our web page. Some of them, we looked at them yesterday, things like the headings, the paragraphs, but today we will go ahead and look at different tags, and also go ahead and look at different elements and something new, which is the attributes that we will also touch. So without wasting time, let me create a folder and we get into it. So come to new, create a folder. This particular one, we'll call it HTML tutorial. So after we create it, I had some images that I prepared that I would want to bring to this folder just to help us so that we do not come back here to look for them. So yeah, so we go back, open our editor, go to open folder, look for that folder on the desktop that we've just created. And the folder was named, we go to desktop and we look for, on the desktop, okay. And we look for that folder, and the folder was named HTML tutorial. Select folder, and yeah, we are ready to go. Close this welcome message. Oh yes, so now we need to, we said yesterday that the first thing we need to do is we need to create our file that will be working, the .html file with that extension. So we come here, we'll call it index.html, enter, and yeah, we have our file. So yesterday we wrote all the things manually, the syntax of the HTML file. But today I will just show you one of the shortcuts that can help you generate this syntax automatically. So what you can do, go to your keyboard and look for the exclamation mark like that. That will be Shift 1. So, and then you tab. When you do that, VS Code will give you the whole HTML syntax and then this will help you not to keep writing every element or every tag. That will be actually, that's one of actually the advantages of using a modern code editor like this. If you're using something like Notepad, you'll have to write each of these tags one by one. So yeah, just go to your keyboard, Shift 1, that it gives you that exclamation, and press the tab key, and this syntax will be here. So yeah, yesterday we explained what this means. Today we will focus mainly, we want to look at some of the common tags that we will be seeing, and we'll also look at the HTML element, and we'll also look at the attributes. So just a quick reminder, HTML tags, we have the opening and closing tags. And we said, we looked at yesterday the heading tags and the paragraph tags. Today we are going to add on more 3 tags, which is the anchor tag and the image tag. and the division tag, which is the div. So I'll be writing here. I will come to the body because what we write on the body is what will actually appear on the on our web page. So on the body, I will start with the heading tag. So when you press when you press on your keyboard H1, the VS Code will give you the opening and the closing tag. And yesterday we said a tag will have opening tag and a closing tag. But we also have self-closing tags. For example, the image tag is self-closing. So as you see, if you type on your keyboard IMG and tab, it will give you the image tag, but you realize it does not have a closing tag. It's self-closing. It's just a single tag without a closing one. So there are also those kind of tags. Then we also have the anchor tag. When you press A on your keyboard and tab, it gives you the anchor tag, but the anchor tag has the closing tag, but it's also a type of HTML tag that we'll be looking at. We also have the div. These are meant to, these are division tags that help us to probably, if we have so many headings on our page and we want to just put them together, we can enclose them on a div, or we have paragraphs or a certain section of our page that we want to put together, we can use a div to just put that section together. So those are the tags, the common tags that you'll be seeing as we keep working. The others will come in, but these are the most common ones that I wanted you to actually know and get to see. And then we also want to look at the element. Yesterday we said that, let me remove this quick. So yesterday, let's remain with the heading tag. So yesterday we said that an element is a combination of tags and its content. So this is a heading tag. So to make it an element, we need to give it a content. So in this H1, maybe we would give it like, this is my main heading. Okay, so that now qualifies this to become an element. That it qualifies it to become an element because it has the tag and then it also has the content within it. And then we also want to talk about attributes. So attributes are additional information about an element. So for an example, if we have an image tag and you see something like SRC here, so this qualifies to be an attribute. Why? This is an additional information about this image. Then we also have the alt here, which is also additional information about this image that we will see as we keep working, how this can be added to our page. But mainly that's what I wanted you to know, that attributes are just additional information about an element. So this is what I wanted to take us through quick. But now we need to have our browser on the side and our code editor on the side, so that now we are able to preview whatever we are writing on our HTML file. So yeah, I'll just open the browser and open our page. So as you can see, our page has nothing. Our page has nothing in it. So it's just empty. There's nothing in it. It's even on our title, we have just document, as you can see here. Yesterday we said that on the head element, we can have the title of our page. So in this case, I will use a title, I could just use something like my web page. So when you enter that, you'll see on your browser, it updates it to my web page. And then we also just need to, maybe yesterday we talked about links. So I wanted us to also have a link of an icon. Remember yesterday we had a bonus point. So these icons are really important. They give your page, they make your page look good because it has an icon that probably it can be your logo, it can be anything. But in this case, we imported an HTML icon that will place there. So we shall include the link and we'll have the whale as icon. And then we will have the href, the hypertext reference. And there we will now embed this icon here. So remember that was HTML, so it's suggesting to us that this is the icon here. And then remember we had the type attribute. Actually, these are also attributes. href here is an attribute of this link. The rel is the attribute, the type here is attribute. So this can be image, and then we can say maybe this is icon. So when you save that, it automatically, as you see on our browser here, it is updated with that icon that you see at the beginning of the title of this web page. To make this maybe look a little bit relatable to what we're doing, we could call this learning HTML. Okay, I've just changed our title to that, learning HTML. Okay, we save that, and you can see it has updated learning HTML. So yeah, we want to look at our headings. When you come to our body, what you need to realize is that the heading tags are organized in a way that they have a hierarchy. Like when in your web page, you could be having more than, let's say, 3 headings. And those headings, you have the main heading, you have a subheading, and maybe you have a smaller heading as you keep going down your web page. So what happens is that HTML gives us these options of making sure that these headings are specified. If it is a main heading, we can use a different tag. If it is a subheading, we can also have a different tag for that. If it's a smaller heading, we have different tags. So there's a hierarchy of this heading that goes from H1 to H6. So if it is our first heading on our page, let's say we have our first heading, which is H1. So H1, this could be probably our main heading on our page. Or we could say this is heading 1. And then to duplicate this, because we're going to create many, we can just highlight it and do Ctrl Shift and use the down arrow. Note that you could highlight this, use Alt Shift and use the down arrow to copy this instead of us writing them one by one. So this is heading 1, our first heading on our page. Then heading 2, this is heading 2, probably the second heading on our page. And then we have heading 3, and this will be H3. And then we have heading 4, which is H4. and heading 5, which is H5, as you can see here. And last one, heading 6, which is that. So when you enter this, you can see on our page that HTML is telling the browser that H1 is our first heading, and then H2 is our second heading. And it will show you here that our H1 is bigger compared to H2, and H2 is bigger than H3. H3 is bigger than H4. And you'll find that H6 is the smallest heading on your page. Now, you might not use all these headings, probably because you have a reasonably smaller web page. You might use maybe H1, H2, and H3. In some cases, maybe H4, but sometimes you might not use all of them. But it's just good to know that headings are in hierarchies. If you're working on your web page, don't just if you maybe it's your main heading and you're putting H2. You should be able to move in that format, because it also helps the browser to tell that this is the main heading on this page, which also improves the SEO. We'll be looking at that, but for now we want to stick to this. So that is our heading, how our headings are being used on our HTML file to differentiate between main headings, subheadings, smaller headings on your page. Now we will go ahead and also look at first we need to look at the paragraph. So I'll remove this quick, and we will have the paragraph element, and we could call this is my first paragraph. You enter, you realize this is our paragraph element. Now paragraph, you could use this for adding simple paragraphs on your page, or also for adding maybe, let's say it's a section on your page and maybe it's after your heading and maybe you're talking about something. You could use the paragraph element to display that information. And then next, we also want to look at the link briefly. Now the links or the anchor tags, probably these are the anchor tags I mean. So the anchor tags, this helps you to create links on your page. Let's say, for example, we want to have a link that takes us to Google. So you'd say HTTPS, you'll put the URL for Google, which is google.com. And then in the middle of this element, you'll put visit Google, probably. Visit Google. Failing to smell Google, okay. So you realize this appears as a link. This link, when you click on it, it will actually take you to Google, because we have provided on our hypertext reference here, we have provided a reference to this website. We have provided a reference to this URL. So when we click on this link, it will take us to Google, just as you've seen. So that is how we work with anchor tags. We also want to look at images briefly. Like, let's take, for example, we have image that we want to put on our page. So I imported an image earlier. When you go here, you'll see that there's an image here of Learn HTML image. So if I want to import that image, I will bring it to the source. And when I start typing, it will bring this image. And then it has an attribute of alternative text, just in case this image will not show on the page. Let's say I missed something and the image couldn't show. this text will be shown on the page instead. So I could give a description of this image here, and maybe I would say learning HTML image. Okay, when I enter that, it will give us this image. Now you realize when I open this image is so broad, it's so big, we cannot even tell what it is. So we could resize this image to a size whereby to a size that we want it to be. Because some of the images, when you download them, they come when they're big. So there are other attributes that you could use, like width. You could set the width of the image. So we could maybe say let the width be 400 pixels, and then let the height. Now, yesterday we said if you want these lines to break, you could actually press Alt Z, and then they will break. So, and then maybe the height we could use, let's say 250 pixels. So when you enter that, this image will resize and become the size. But yeah, there are also other best practices that we could use, but for now, we can stick to that. So yeah, that's how you could import an image to your page. The other one that we wanted to look at is the div. We said a div is a container for grouping elements on your page. So let's take an example. We have probably our headings. I'm going to include headings up here. Maybe we have our H1 heading that, let's say, this is heading 1. Maybe we have a paragraph after that, which says, in this section, we will be learning HTML. Now, these are just random things that are coming off my head. So when we enter, we will have this. So we can use something like a div to put this in a division, sort of put them in sort of a section, trying to separate them from other things on our page. So we could bring this here. So this would look like a div. You will not see any change on your page, but it would have divided them into that section. And then we could also have another div where we could have, let's say, now we have maybe a heading. Maybe now we can have an H2 heading. We learned about the hierarchies of headings just a few minutes ago. So I'm now using H2. So we could say that this is the image of learning HTML. Just something random, probably not meaning anything. So that, and maybe we could add this to our, we could add that there. So you realize this has been, there's a first div, which I'm highlighting here, which has clustered that first part of our web page together. And the second div has also grouped the image and some content and the link together. It will not be showed here, but on your code, this helps you to know that these things are grouped together, these are grouped together. We will also see other tags, other elements that we can use to group. Probably that could be more effective, but for now, this is good for us to start with. So basically, those are some of the tags and elements that I wanted you to get to know. One more thing that I wanted to show you here is this is a bonus point that I wanted to show you here, that if we gave a source of this image that was wrong, let's say we're going to delete just one letter of this image. So when we delete it and we reload it, you realize the image disappears because the image address that we've put here is wrong. So the image is not being displayed. But you can see here that there's something that looks like an image, small here, looks like a box, as you can see, and says learning HTML. Now, before, let me just put it back. If I put back this to our image and I reload, the image comes back because the address is correct. And the alternative text, which is learning HTML, as you see here, this alternative text that we have here, learning HTML, is not being shown on the page simply because the image address is correct and the image is being displayed. But when we maybe remove this image and let's say there is no image, let's say there is no image, and we load the page, it now displays the alternative text, which is learning HTML. So this is sort of a precaution that is being put there so that when you embed images on your web page and maybe this image is not being displayed, the person who goes to your web page is able to see at least an alternative text that shows that there was an image that was meant to be here, and this is the description of the image. So that is helpful in more different ways that we'll look at, but it's also helpful for screen readers because screen readers might not be able to translate the image, but they're able to translate the text, the alternative text that's on the web page. So in that case, if someone is using a screen reader, someone is able to see, is able to know that this in this section of the web page, there's actually an image of HTML or certain image of a person or something like that. So basically that's that, but you'll go further and look at that. Now we want to go ahead and just put this together and come up with something that looks probably awesome. So I'll just get rid of all this in the body element, and you get rid of all that. When you reload, we'll have nothing on our web page. We just have something plain, as you can see. So we will start building something at least. So we want to have our H1. Since today we are learning about HTML element and attributes. So in our H1 we will have learning about HTML elements and attributes. Okay, that's our first heading on our page. When you save that, as you can see, we have our first heading on our page. It says learning about HTML elements and attributes. And then we also want to have a paragraph element on our page. So we could call this this, what could we say? We could say in this course, we will be running different types of elements and attributes. So when you load that, you see we have our paragraph on our page. And then we could also have an image. So I could have an image. And since we have already our image here, I link the image. I'll give it an alternative text of learning HTML image. And then I would also give my image a width This time I'll give it a width of 600 and then a height of, let's say, 400. Let's see how that look. So now we have our bigger image on our page. Maybe we would do a height of, let's say, 350. Okay, so that's it. The next thing that we will look at is we will also want to have an about a section. We'll have an about section. So we can use our div that we just learned. So a div, and in this div, we will have a heading of H2, and we will call this about learning HTML. So that will be it. When we reload, you'll see it about learning HTML as our H2. And then we can have a paragraph. And in our paragraph, we could just say, I love learning HTML. And then we could say, I love using HTML elements and attributes. Because my web page look awesome. So yeah, now we have our paragraph. Now we have our paragraph. When we reload, is it showing anything? Yeah, now we have a paragraph down. So as we go down, as we continue, we can also have probably a link and say we use our anchor tag, and on the link we could say we could link an HTML image, HTML tag, and then we could say we could say no, we could give a link of no, we could give a link of HTTPS, and then we'll go to an address of let's say we will use just a simple address, maybe google.com, and then we say here visit Google. When we do that on our page, it will give us visit Google there as a link. Yeah, so this is it. So when we open up our web page, what we've done, as you can see, we have a first heading learning about HTML elements and attributes. In this course, we'll be learning different types of elements and attributes. And then we have our image here. We also have about our H2, which is about learning HTML. And then we have our paragraph here. And then we have visit Google here. If we click this link, when we click this link, it takes us to Google. And we could probably search for HTML5. Voila, and we have that. So yeah, this is it. This is it for now. So we have been able to utilize our HTML elements and attributes, and that brings us to the end of our video. My encouragement to you guys is continue like learning, practice, create your own web pages. Use the knowledge you've learned here to just create some of your web pages, and make sure that this knowledge gets into your mind, so that as you continue learning, you're able to just add on other things that you will continue learning to the knowledge that you're building on. So I just encourage you to just do practice, go look at these concepts during your free time, create your web page, probably share with me on the comment, tell me what is maybe difficult for you, where you need help. I'll be available. to just help you, take you through this, because I want us to just learn together. I want us to progress together, in short. So that's it. A recap would be that what I want you to take with you today is that tags are the building blocks of HTML. The tags that we talked about, these are the building blocks. As you realize, every element that we have on the body here, it starts with a tag. It has to be inside the tag. Everything that we want to display on a web page has to be in the HTML tags. So these are the building blocks of HTML. Then the element, just combine the tags and the content. The tag plus the content that you want to display on your web page, this qualifies to become an element. So I hope that is very clear for all of us. And then attributes. This add extra information to the element. If you have an element, this image here is an element, is an HTML element. But we added just extra information to this element. For example, the alternative text, this is extra information. So that qualifies to become an attribute. Same thing for our link here. It has also attributes. That's extra information to our link. So basically, that's that. Thank you for watching to the end. I'll see you in the next video. In the next video, we'll be working with texts and headings. We want to see how to format content effectively on your web page. So we'll be working with text, headings, and how to organize our web page, to look even more awesome and more organized. So guys, thank you. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit the notification icon, and yeah, let's see you in the next video. Thank you.